Greetings. Thank you for joining me here. If you made it here, that means that you probably just read the ebook Self-Realization of a Goddess. Awesome. So, from that ebook, I invited you to join me in a free class about remembering the Mother God. This class is like an introductory to Self-Realization of a Goddess. It's like understanding the feminine part of God before we even go into our 12 steps. Okay? So let me go over really quickly who I am, what this class is about, and just a little bit more about Self-Realization of a Goddess, if you didn't already get it from the book. Who I am. I am Black Fire. Now, my government name is Kamisha, but I call myself Black Fire, and I am a metaphysician. That means that I teach about energy. Pretty much that's what a metaphysician is. That's one that teaches about energy. And I'm going to show you that when we get into the class of how I know that it really means that. The other thing is that I have a website, Black Fire Nation, where I pretty much have kind of like an online school where you could go in there, you can read blogs, you can take classes about metaphysics. A lot of it is catered towards understanding the woman or understanding the feminine aspect of God. And that's because I think that that is really important at this time in the age that we are in. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. Now, and if you see me look up, it's because I have notes right here. So what is this class going to talk about? This class is going to talk about, well, first and foremost, the reason why I wanted to do this was because I wanted to encourage us to start questioning what we have been taught about God. And I also wanted to encourage us to start, when we read any type of religious text, it doesn't matter whether it's the Emerald Tablets or whether it's the Dr. York Holy Tablets or whether it's the Bible. We should be going beyond what's on the surface. We should always be going beyond what's on the surface. So I'm going to pique your interest in that area. Also, this class is going to promote knowledge of the goddess inside of the woman. Okay, we all have a feminine aspect of us, but I particularly want women to understand the feminine aspect of themselves and to understand the mother God that's inside of themselves. Okay, now in regards to self-realization of a goddess, that class is going to take you from, well, first and foremost, is going to teach you how to stand in the full authority of your I am. It's going to give you way more confidence in knowing who you are and going after what you want in regards to different areas. A lot of it does focus on healing that has to do with men, because that's one of our biggest areas where we need healing. And we talk about karma, which has a lot to do with our parents, our mother and our father. We also go over the law of attraction and how that works, mirroring how that works. We talk about how we choose men, which is what the segment of No Pussy for Boys is about. We also call that segment Grown Men Only. So, you know, if you choose to move forward and start taking the classes for self-realization of a goddess, I can promise you that by the end of it, if you take all 13 steps, your mind will be completely changed. I promise. Okay? Now, in this class, we are going to go over how etymology and phonology and metaphysics relate to the mother God. We're also going to go over what gender and God really is. What does gender have to do with God? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about where is God hiding. We're going to talk about the mother and her oath of silence. And we're also going to talk about the mother and the memory bank. So yes, I am talking about, when I say the memory bank, I'm talking about Akashic Records, and I'm also talking about literal money, because you understanding your I am and you remembering your I am is how you gonna get your money. Okay? Now, money, not only physical money, is also peace of mind. All right? So that's it. Go get you something to drink. Go get you something to eat. Go get you a piece of paper and a pen. Let's get started. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? We are going to be breaking down what etymology is, what phonology is, and what a metaphysician is. Let's go. So, first and foremost, a metaphysician is metaphysician. Anytime you hear this mut sound, it means mother. Okay? Mut or mud, it means mother. If you look up the etymology of mother, you're going to see how that word transformed and morphed over time. And it had that mut sound or that mud sound. So that's how I know that that word has to do with the mother. Now, a physician is also called a doctor, right? But if we look up the etymology of the word doctor, it means a religious teacher. Okay? So that means that a religious teacher is teaching us about what? God. Teacher of God. Okay, if it has to do with religion, it probably has to do with God. So, we could look at a metaphysician as being a teacher of the mother God. That's why I call myself a metaphysician, because a metaphysician is one who teaches about the mother God, which is to go past what you physically see, to go beyond, because the word meta also means beyond. Okay? So if we're going beyond the mother, then that means we're going beyond the veil. We're going beyond, because the mother has a veil, she's covered. She's in darkness, which I'll get to that part later. But to go beyond what is physical, metaphysical means to go beyond what is physical. Okay? So that's what a metaphysician is. Now, let's look at the word etymology. Okay? Etymology. If you look up the etymology of the word etymology, it's going to tell you that it means the origin and development of a word. So basically, etymology shows us how words morph over time. It shows, which means it's really showing us how sound morphs over time. So it shows us how like a T changed to a D. If we actually pay attention to what it's saying, it'll say like, oh yeah, this word used to be spelled M-E-T-A and now it's spelled M-E-D-A. So that means that a T somehow turned to a D sound, or a K sound somehow turned to a S sound. So that's what etymology shows us. Now, the word etym actually means true or truth. Okay, and ology means science. So etymology means true science, or the science of what is true. Okay? Now the etymology of science means to know. So therefore etymology also means to know the truth. And this is why it's important to study etymology. Okay, but don't stop there, because the next one we're going to look at is what phonology is, which is what sound is. Okay? Phonology. Kind of sounds like the word phony, right? Like it's not real. Well, it's not. And I explain that later on. Okay? But anyway, phonology means, phone means sound, and ology means, science. So phonology is the science of sound. But like we said, science means to know. So phonology means to know sound. Now phonology has the word knowledge right in it. It has the sound of the word knowledge right in it. So let's talk about this, because this is important. Let me step over here for a minute. The mother God. The mother God wants us to break through boundaries. wants us to break through imaginary boundaries and imaginary limits. And the thing about words is that we definitely get trapped there. So meaning that we'll look up a word, we'll look up a definition, right? Which really is about defining something and putting structure around it. And we'll say, that's what that means and that's the end of it. Well, the mother aspect of God wants us to use our right side of our brain, which would say, no, I'm going to go outside of that. I'm going to be a little risky here. She wants us to take risk because that's how you find her. Because that's how you get to understand her. Because that means you're going beyond that. It just says, phonology. If you can hear the word knowledge in there, that lets you know that phonology itself has to do with knowledge. Okay? So I'm encouraging you, and the mother is encouraging you, to push past what other people have defined for you. So I'm not just only talking about words. I mean, in life in general. That's why in Self-Realization of a Goddess, I spend a lot of time talking about the womb, because it is the mother aspect of God that really wants to push us or birth us into going past boundaries or imaginary boundaries that other people have set for us. Okay? And that's it. I'll see you in the next part. Peace. Great. So now we have some understanding of why it's important to study etymology and what etymology has to do with the mother God, because etymology pretty much means to know the truth, and phonology is to go beyond, is to go by sound, right? So that means that when we look at words, we are going to break barriers, and we are going to go by, we're going to look at the origin of the word, and then we're going to take a step further, and we're going to actually listen to what are we actually hearing in this word. And all of that can be encompassed into the mother aspect of God, because like I said, she goes beyond what you can physically see on the surface. So the same way I can look at a word and actually really don't care about what it says on the surface in a dictionary, I'll look at that, but then I'll go beyond that. That is using the power of the mother God. All right. So let's move to the next step, which is about gender. Gender and God is what I'm going to be talking about next. So I want you to ask yourself, or you can even write this question down and answer it in your own head. Why do most people refer to God as He? Of course, in my opinion, we've been trained and programmed to do that. And I've been in situations where I've sat and listened to people, get really deep when it comes to understanding the laws of nature, and they know all this stuff about comedic science, and they know all this stuff about the land and the moon and the stars, and then while they're talking, they'll call God He, and then I'll be like, okay, but you just gave this whole thing about, you just talked all this knowledge about, this moon and the stars, but then you refer to God as He. But I don't judge them for that. I just have my ears open, because it just lets me know that we have a habit of doing that. It almost doesn't even matter how deeply you get into it, unless you have really, really trained your mind to understand that God does not have a so-called gender. And I'm going to explain that to you. It does, but it doesn't. Okay? That's like the whole universe operates like that. It is, but it ain't. It's on, but it's off. It's in, but it's out. It's up, but it's down. The universe operates like that. All right. So, if you are made in the image of God, which the Bible says that we are all made in the image of God, then how come there are not only males on earth? How come everybody running around doesn't only have a penis? Because supposedly God is a He, according to the Bible. And God is always referred to He and Him. So if God is He and Him, then how come, and we're all made in an image, then how come there's not all males on the earth? Right? Great question. So let's look at some words that we have in the English language that actually describe gender. I'm going to go put these words up here, and we're going to see a pattern in these words. Okay? We have she. Then we have he. We have her. Then we have him. We have female. Then we have male. We have woman. I'm going to put this up here so I can make sure that you see it. And then we have man. We have feminine. Then we have masculine. Masculine. And we have girl. And then we have boy. Now, if you look at these words, you will see a pattern in them. I won't say anything. I'll let you think about it for a minute, for a couple seconds. And then I'm going to show you the pattern. Okay? So the pattern is that these words are showing you how they are inside of each other. The male and the female are always one. They are inseparable and they are inside of each other. So you have male inside of female and you have ma, which is the mother, inside of the male. I'm skipping that one for right now. You have he inside of she. But this he here, say he. That's breath. Okay? So if it's unseen, then it has a feminine aspect to it. Because the feminine aspect is all about unseen. You cannot see your breath. That's how I know that he really represents something that's somewhat feminine. Okay? You have man inside of one man, and then you have ma over there. So she's inside of him, he's inside of her. Inside of feminine, if you listen to that, you would hear the word men in the middle of that. And then you have ma on the front of masculine. Ma is a dead giveaway. That just makes it really easy for you to see. And then girl and boy. Now, if you looked up the etymology of the word girl, it's going to tell you that it also means boy. Okay? Boy actually means a slave. The etymology of boy means a slave. But I just wanted to at least show you. Oh, so I skipped this one. But down here in her is he. So you can still see him in there. And him is also him. H-Y-M-N, as in a song, which is relative to sound. Which later on, I'm going to show you how sound has a feminine attribute to it. Or sound has a lot to do with the feminine aspect of God. So again, in all of these words, you can find pretty much, maybe not boy so much, but it's probably in there somewhere. You can see how they're inside of each other. So therefore, in regard to calling God either particular gender, even when you say man, you're still talking about the mother, because when we refer to man, we're talking about everybody, right? Man has a plural essence to it as well. So when we say all of man, we're talking about everybody. But even if we weren't, it still has the word ma on the front of it. So even when you're talking about man, you're still talking about the mother. When you talk about masculine, you're still talking about the mother. When you talk about male, you're still talking about the mother. Okay? So, what does this really tell us about gender? It tells us that there really is one gender, and it's two and one. It looks like it's separated. Let's actually look at the word gender. Okay? Let's actually look at the word gender. G-E-N-D-E-R. Gender. Now, because I'm using my ears, I'm listening for the sound. What do I hear in the word gender? Well, I hear the word gene, and I hear the word door. Now, let's think about this for a minute. Because where do genes actually come from? They're in our blood, right? But how do we create with them? When we have sex and the semen comes out and it marries the egg, that's where all the genetic material is in the semen and in the egg, in the heart of those things. That's how we actually create a physical gender. We create either a male or a female. right? That's why gender really comes from the gene door, and the door is our genitals. The door is our genitals. Because your vagina represents a door. The semen comes in, it creates what it creates, or together it creates in the womb, and then it comes out the door. So it goes in the door, it comes out the door. Now also it's coming out of the penis. That's also a door. Okay, there's only exit coming out of there. There's no entry going in there, which I talk about this in Self-Realization of a Goddess. But anyway, I wanted you to understand what the gender, how gender is really created. It's created with the door. Okay? The gender is created with the door. So with that being said, we should not really give God a so-called gender, because that would mean that God has a penis. Does God have a penis? Or does God have a vagina? I'm not saying whether God does or doesn't. I'm just saying, if we are going to say that God has a gender, then we should be saying that God has both. Okay. So let's just talk about in the Bible just a little bit what happened when man was created. I'm going to show you how there was a mixture there of the mother and father at the same time. It's hidden. But see, remember what I said at the beginning. That's why I talked about what metaphysics is, and what etymology is, and what phonology is, and it means to go beyond what you physically say. Now, Eve in the Bible, Eve actually means the mother of all living. The mother of all living. Eve means live, living, the mother of all living. Okay? So let's think about the scripture. I'm sorry, I don't remember it, and I didn't write it in my notes. But the scripture where the Bible says that God blew breath into man and formed a living being. It says man was formed from the dust of the ground. What is the dust of the ground? Well, that's the dirt, the soil, the earth, which is not the literal earth, because we have earth inside of us. The word earth is also the word heart. The word earth is also the word heart. So when it says that man was formed from the dust of the ground, it is talking about the earth, which we normally call Mother Earth. That means that you were formed out of Mother Earth, which means you were formed out of the mother's heart. Earth and heart is the same word. Now, if you were formed out of the mother's heart, that's really talking about karma, which again, we talk about that. I go into more detail in Self-Realization of a Goddess about that. But anyway, to say that man was formed from the earth is to say that man was formed from the material of the mother. Okay? And even if we looked at the word material, we will see the word mother right in there. So man was formed out of the dust of the ground, which is the material of the Mother Earth. That's one way, just one area where I saw that the mother was present. She's just very much hidden, and you have to look for her. Okay? Eve, the reason why you have to look for her is because Eve means darkness. But I think I'm going to get into that in another part. Okay. No. Okay. We are on the third part, which is about where is God hiding? Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about the mother. I'm still talking about the mother because it has a lot to do with things being hidden. I kind of talked about it a little bit in the last part. I want to go a little bit deeper into it now so you can kind of piece it together. Hopefully you started to piece it together. Okay? Let's move on. Now, we are now talking about the hidden aspect of God. I believe I mentioned Eve in the last part. So Eve, who is called the mother of all living, She's also called life. Okay? Now, when we think about Eve, Eve is literally like the nighttime. Eve is always like the night before. Eve is always like what precedes what actually happened. Like Christmas Eve, like New Year's Eve. Any kind of Eve always means what happened before you physically did something, okay? Now, when things are done in the dark or the night, we usually call that some kind of secret. It means it's hidden. We can't see it. That's how I know that Eve has a lot to do with understanding the mother. And in all honesty, and if you read the Bible from the perspective of Eve representing darkness, then she's already there at the very beginning of the Bible, from Genesis 1, in the beginning. And then in Genesis 1:2, when it talks about hovering over the darkness or being in the darkness, you're talking about the mother right there. But anyway, God hides from us inside of ourselves. Okay? So the Eve representing the nighttime or what is secret. Secret sounds like the word sacred. Right? Now, sacred actually means, I'm going to put it over here. Sacred means holy. What kind of holy? I'm going to write it up here. Okay. What kind of holy is whole? The zero. And it's nothing. It's unseen. That's what holy is. Holy is to be unseen. Okay? That's why things are hidden in nothing. Things are hidden in a place called nothing. You are actually a character called nobody, meaning that you really don't have a body. You just look like you have a body. You're playing a role, but you're really nobody and you are no thing. You are really holy. That's why the Bible tells us, be holy because I am holy. Okay? It's telling you to really understand the hidden aspect of yourself. But anyway, the other thing about, I'm going to erase this, okay? We talked about Eve being secret, Eve being sacred and holy, because that's to be what's hidden in the dark. The other thing about being holy is the word God in the Bible is Elohim. Elohim. Right? The Hebrew word. But if we move these English letters around, it says I am whole. What did I just say about holy? I just went through this whole thing where I showed you that Eve is nighttime, which is secret, which is sacred, which is holy, which is holy. Okay? Grasp that if you can. That what we call God in the Bible is also the words I am whole. Right? What kind of whole are we talking about? Well, we could be talking about a lot of different holes. But for me, I'm thinking about the womb. Okay? That's the first thing that I'm thinking about. Now, let's talk about the mother and sound and vibration, because that's also how God hides. God hides, whether we're talking about feminine or masculine, it doesn't really matter. You know, the masculine is seen, but it's still unseen. God hides in vibration. God hides in energy. So let's talk about what Eve is. And in that regard, Eve. I want you to say Eve for a long time. Ready? Go. Eve. I know I didn't do it that long, right? But I did it long enough for you to feel that tickling vibration on your lips. That's vibration. You cannot see it, but you can see it because everything is always vibrating. Okay? You don't always know the intention or the meaning behind the vibration, but everything is always vibrating and moving. So vibration, what is vibration? Vibration is waves. I mean, even if we took that Eve sound and just said V over and over again, what am I drawing here? Waves. Okay? What kind of waves are we talking about? We're talking about light waves and we're talking about sound waves. These both have to do with what we call Jesus, the Son of God, because Son means, in the Latin language, Son means sound, and then Sun, S-U-N, is light. Okay? So this is the way that vibration comes to life, through sound and light. But it's still hidden inside of the mother. It's still hidden in the darkness. It's still unseen. All we see is the manifestation of it. Okay? So, when we are talking about the mother, we are really talking about, when we are talking about the mother, when we are talking about Eve, since we are talking about darkness, let me erase this. We are really talking about the subconscious. And I might spell this wrong because I always have a hard time writing it. We're really talking about the subconscious, which means that which is hidden under the conscience. Somebody walks up to you and slaps you. Well, you're able to acknowledge that somebody walked up to you and slapped you, but you probably don't know why. Well, maybe you might do know why, but you get what I'm saying. You always don't know the intention behind the action. The intention behind the action is hidden in the subconscious. And that has a lot to do with how we create and how we manifest, because we manifest according to our intention. Okay? Also, what's happening is that the Father, or the conscience part of the mind, what we see outside of us, what we think we see outside of us anyway, is triggering a subconscious response. That is how they communicate with each other. Like I said, they are always one. They are always communicating with each other. So the Father is triggering something in the subconscious within the mother and getting her to respond. Now, she might respond just with feelings and emotions. And a lot of times when we as human beings, when we open up our mouth to speak, we're usually not saying what was exactly on our mind. We're usually not being honest about what was truly at the subconscious. Sometimes we're not even aware of it. And that's why we have to pay attention to our very subtle thoughts that pass. We cannot ignore those. Okay? Anyway, I don't want to stay stuck on this part too long. The last thing I'm going to say, like I said, that the Father is triggering something inside of your subconscious, your things that's physically happening outside of you is triggering the mother aspect of you. And what he is doing is he's reminding her. Okay? He reminds her of herself. He reminds her, which is also reshaping her mind. I'm going to end that here, and then we're going to pick up on the next part, which is about the oath of the mother, which is silence. All right? Peace. Okay. I'm glad you made it back. We are now on, what part are we on? The mother's oath of silence. Now, I kind of already talked about the mother being hidden, or, what Eve is representing the subconscious and the hidden part of God. So I'm just going to go a little bit further into how I know that the mother is to remain silent. And that probably plays a huge part in why the Bible kind of hides her. Which, again, I talk about this in Self-Realization of a Goddess in regards to why the mother is hidden. And it has to do with because she's relative to the bank, okay, the memory bank. But anyway, I'm going to move over and we're going to talk about the mother being the oath of silence, okay? First of all, the feminine aspect of God shows up in the Bible as wisdom. Okay? The Bible tells us to get wisdom. It tells us that wisdom is the principal thing. But when it talks about wisdom, it refers to wisdom as a she. Now, if we break down the word wisdom, it shows us that it says, well, for me anyway, it says it's wise to be dumb. Which means that it's wise to be quiet. Okay? It's wisdom is knowing when to be quiet and when to speak, and it's also knowing how to speak and what voice to speak, what voice to use when you speak. Okay? The word wisdom, if we move these letters around a little bit, it's is and it's womb. Okay? That's how I know that wisdom comes from understanding the science of the womb. That's how I know that when I created a whole curriculum around the science of the womb, that women would be able to use that to get closer to their I am. They would be able to use that to get closer to just expound on their confidence, because understanding the wisdom or understanding the womb is wisdom. Okay? If we really want to take this a step further, like I just said earlier, that the mother is hidden because she's the bank, the word is right there in the money symbol. Okay? So that's really showing us that money is in the womb. Money is in the womb. Okay? So, what else? The mother is under an oath. I said the mother is under an oath of silence. What's an oath? Well, an oath, just to make it really simple, I'm going to call it a contract. Okay? And the reason why I'm calling it that is because I know that the word matrix means like an original instrument, an original legal document. Okay, in the Black's Law Dictionary, the word matrix actually means an original legal document. We're talking about some kind of contract. Okay, so that's why I said that she has an oath of silence. She's under a contract with the masculine part to remain silent. Now, and to remain in secret. She represents darkness, which is both knowing and ignorance. Okay, so when you hear the words darkness in the Bible, sometimes it's referring to the ignorance, meaning that everything that you see outside of you, you're ignorant of it because you don't understand that it's really a manifestation of what's inside of each and every one of us. That means you're in darkness. You're ignorant of that concept. But the other flip side of darkness is to know that for us to manifest things, it has to be placed into darkness. Thoughts are placed into darkness, and they manifest on the outside. So the knowledge of knowing what darkness is versus the ignorance of you not understanding what comes out, what is outside of you. Those darkness has two different understandings, and light does as well. I'm not going to break down light down, but I just wanted to, kind of go a little bit deeper into how darkness can mean both ignorance and knowledge at the same time. Okay, it really depends on your perspective and how you're looking at it. But the thing about the word silence, let's talk about that a little bit. Silence. Let's see. Silence silent, to be still, to be at peace. All those words in the Hebrew language come from one word. And that one word is D-A-M-A-M. D-A-M-A-M sounds like the mom. The mom. The mom. First of all, it has that word damn on it. Do you remember what I said about damn in the beginning? That damn means mother. Right? So even if I didn't go by sound, I would still look right in and say, oh, that got something to do with the mother. All right? It also has Adam in there, so lets us know it has to do with Adam. But what I'm saying is that it sounds like the mom. And it also has damn in it, which means mom. That's how I know that silence, still, and peace has to do with the mother. Being silent has to do with the mother. Okay? Now, the thing about the word damn, not only does it mean mother, but it also means blood. Now, when I get into self-realization of a goddess and I start talking about karma, I explain how blood and the menses and the semen come together to create a contract, which has a lot to do with our karma. But the semen and the menses coming together is darkness and light coming together and becoming one. Okay? The blood represents darkness. Isn't your menstrual blood dark? Right? And isn't semen light? Like a white color, a pale color, whatever. I'm just saying on a physical level, even when you put them together on a physical level, they're darkness and light. Okay? So I'm showing you that damn, which is the mother, also means blood, which blood is dark. Blood represents darkness. Okay? So the mother aspect of God always represents things that are hidden and always represents things that are silent, that are still, that are at peace. Even when we sing Jesus, there's a song rather called Silent Night, Holy Night. And it's talking about like the night that Jesus was born. Well, you're talking about birth, so you're still talking about the womb. Still has something to do with the mother. Silent night, holy night. Again, when you're talking about holy, you're talking about a whole, which is probably got to do with the womb. Okay? So, that's it in regards to that aspect. Catch me back at the last part, which is about how the mother is tied to your memory bank. Peace. Okay, congratulations. You made it all the way to understanding the memory bank. Understanding that the mother is tied to the memory bank. The memory bank has a lot to do with our karma, our Akashic records, things that are hidden in our subconscious, and how we can heal them. Okay? So let me move on over to the side, and I'm going to go through some things about the memory bank. Now, of course, I talk about this in Self-Realization of a Goddess, so I'm not going to be going too deep into it, but just enough to pique your interest, okay? So, I want you to consider how you were created in the womb. When the semen came in and it met the menses, what happened was when they came together, cells started to divide into pieces. So therefore, in some sense, you were cut into pieces. Just like the story of Asar and Aset, okay? There's a story in the Bible, Rahab, I believe her name is, where there's a feminine that was cut into pieces. In my opinion, this is really representing the zodiac being cut into pieces, because you also have the zodiac inside of you. So really, to be cut in those pieces represents you being divided, which is what caused you to forget your last life or all of your last lives. That's played a huge role in causing you to forget. Now, we need both the mother and the father energy to help us remember the God that's within us, because we're both God and human, like, at the same time, because we are a manifestation of what God is. Okay, but we have to, for us to find peace, which is the ultimate level of being rich. That's why it says not only about physical money. It's the ultimate level of being rich is to have peace of mind. And to get that, you're going to have to remember your relationship with the all in this physical body. Okay? Now, what helps us do that is all of our experiences that we're having. Okay? So let me see. The thing that we need to remember is the Bible tells us to do not forget or do not forsake the law of the mother. It tells us follow the instruction of the father and don't forget the law of the mother. This is not talking about your physical mother. This is talking about the law of Mother Nature. Okay, Proverbs 1:8. I do know that one by heart. Proverbs 1:8. Forget not the laws of the mother. So that's basically reminding you, hey, you need to remember the mother God, which is why I wanted to make this video. So I can help you understand why is it important to remember the mother God. Now, to remember what's happening, like I said, is that the father, which is the masculine part, is reminding her. He's helping her remember through these different experiences and stuff that we are having. And so the other thing that we're here to remember through our experiences is that we are in school. The entire purpose of the masculine energy is to teach us. Okay? How do I know that? Watch. Because in the word masculine is ma, school, in. So masculine is showing us in the mother's school. So although it's masculine, it's the mother's school, meaning it's the school of the womb. Okay? The mother's school is the mystery school because remember, the mystery is things that are secret, that are hidden, that are silent, that are holy. It's about both the feminine and the masculine. Okay? The mystery school is about both the feminine and the masculine. But what I'm saying is that the masculine is the school that you go to learn about the feminine, to learn about the unseen, to learn about metaphysics. So this whole thing about, there being like these mysterious mystery schools, you're in it. You're in the school now. You're in the mystery school now. Okay? It's also a university. This mystery school is a university. University. Right? Sounds like Yoni-versity. That's what I call it anyway. Yoni means womb. So we're always in the school of the womb. That's why when we graduate, when we are born, we get a certificate. We get crowned. Okay? But anyway. Right now we are in the school of the mother, the school of the womb, and we call that place the matrix. The matrix means womb. Okay, not only does it mean a legal instrument, but it also literally means the womb. Like, the word matrix is in the Bible. It means womb. And how do I know that we're in the womb right now? Because we're breathing in air, which air is just another form of water. So we're breathing in water, which means we're really still in the womb. The school that we're in, it's a play. It's an act. It's a simulation. Okay, the etymology of the word simulation means a false show. It means a hypocrisy. Actually, I'm looking at my notes right here. It means to imitate. To simulate means to imitate. It's an imitation. It's an imitation of the womb, of what happens in the womb. Everything that's happening, that is what happens in the womb. Everything. Okay? Simulation also means to resemble. Okay, so to give you some understanding of what we are remembering, how do we get to remember our true self is by remembering the Mother God. How do we get to remembering our memory bank is by remembering our connection with the I am, by remembering the law of the I am. If we remember our I am, which in my opinion, your I am is the contract that was created between the menses and the semen in the womb. Okay? But your I am is also your aim. What was your goal? What was your purpose for even coming here and having this whole experience? You have a purpose. Everybody does. Okay? And guess what? Sometimes your purpose is not this grand thing like, yes, I'm here to save the world. No, you're here to save yourself first and foremost. You're here to remember yourself, and then whatever spills over is for the world. My cup runneth over. Okay? So you remembering your I am is remembering your aim, and that's where your bank is. That's where your bank is. That's where your money is. When you live in your purpose, the purpose that was proposed in the womb, or according to the talents that you were given, because talent means money, that's when you get to your bank. Okay? So, I think I've reached the end. Yep, I've reached the end of class. Oh, wait. Yeah, I've reached the end. So, hopefully, you've liked the way I teach. You get some understanding of how I teach. This is not just simply learning about, oh, yes, I know how to use the law of attraction to create things and bring things to me and manifestation. No, we're going way deeper than that. We're going further than that. And we're going so deep into our own minds that's where we get the confidence to do things like leave our job if we want to. Like leave an abusive relationship if we want to. Like stand on our square and stand firmly in our I am. Stand firmly in our purpose. Stand firmly in our goal. Because if you do not have the courage to do that, then you're not going to be at peace. So this self-realization of a goddess is not just simply about like learning about manifestation and learning about the law of attraction. No, it's to help bring you to a place of peace, which of course I can't do that. You have to want to do that within inside yourself. So I strongly encourage you, if you don't want to take all 13 courses, I strongly encourage you to at least, take some here and there. Now, if you take all 13, let me just not